Welcome to today's CLA webinar, which is industry trends taking hold in 2025. My name is Bob Nieman. I'm the editor of Planet Laundry magazine, and I'll serve as your moderator for today's program. Each month, we like to take a topic that appeared in Planet Laundry and kind of go a little bit deeper with it. So we're going to be focusing on industry trends, which was the cover story of the December issue of Planet Laundry, and we're going to kind of take a deeper dive and explore that topic a little bit further with our panel. I will begin by asking some questions of the panel, and then afterwards we'll take as many of your questions as possible. So feel free at any time during this program to please type them into the question box, and we'll get to them. So let's meet our panelists who are here this afternoon and certainly giving of their time. We have Yvette Morton Williams of Wash and Spin Coin Laundry. We have Brendan Ristaino of Eastern Funding. And we have Mark Vlaskamp of 2U Laundry. Thank you so much to all three of you for taking time out of your day during certainly a very busy month to share some of your thoughts with us. Greatly appreciated.
My pleasure.
All right. Well, I'm looking at you first, Yvette, so I'm gonna pick on you first, but it's nothing personal. And I guess let's go back a little bit. And what are some of the biggest stories or happenings of this past year, Yvette, that you see making an impact on the laundry business going into 2025? What are some of the biggest stories that happened this year?
Well, I'd say that the microfibers, they continue to be a big deal. And I don't see that that's going anywhere. And that's the fight that we are getting as an industry to have filters put on our machines to minimize the numbers of microfibers that are entering into our water system. And unfortunately, I really don't think it's going to go anywhere. And as we all know, if we as laundromat owners or as manufacturers are required to have filters on the back of every washer or even within the whole store, it's going to really change what we do and how we function. It's going to impact our costs. It's going to impact our labor costs of the equipment. So it's something that CLA has been fighting as it's come up in various municipalities around the nation, but I really don't think it's going to go anywhere. So I think it'll be important that we work together and that we as owners, as distributors, manufacturers, all get together and continue to provide financial resources, time resources to kind of help combat this, because I don't think the answer is that we don't want to do it and that it's going to go away. So that's been a big deal. I also think that the increase in labor costs, that's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So that's a big story that has continued to evolve in 2024. I expect it's going to continue in 2025 also. And then just the fact that we just don't really know what's going to happen. So a lot of economic uncertainty and what that will mean to all of us. We've seen our prices go up across the board. They have gone up by enormous percentages in the last couple of years. I also believe that that's going to continue in 2025.
Yeah, I think you really hit on three big ones there, Yvette. Mark, how about you? Have anything to add to that as far as things that kind of reared up in 2024?
Yeah, we can't get away from microfibers, so that was certainly on my list. But
yeah,
most of my answers are going to be colored through the lens of the delivery business. I'm a huge fan of the pickup and delivery business. When I first got into laundry, we got into laundromats to get to the delivery business. I have since fallen in love with laundromats, and from the pickup and delivery side, I think one of the big stories is the continued rise of the gig workers, gig economy, right? We see the white label software platforms out there now, all integrating with DoorDash and other kind of third-party delivery companies. I think if you had asked me back then, I would have said that's probably a flavor of the month a year or two ago. That'll go away. It certainly hasn't. And with that, kind of in the gig world, the rise of the peer-to-peer laundry service companies is one that I have my eye on closely. It's an Uber model, in the same way Uber cut the taxi drivers out. I think we need to be paying more attention and following this trend to make sure that peer-to-peer models don't cut the laundromats out of the laundry service.
Right. Yeah, no, great points. Absolutely. Big topics and something to all keep an eye on heading into next year. Hey, Brendan, how about you? As the finance guy on the panel, what stories did you see? What were you following? What do you think is going to impact this business as we turn the page?
Yeah, a couple things. One, from the finance side is we talk about rates all the time. What are they going to do? Where are they? Where are they going? That's a big topic in 24. Don't see it going away in 25. Another one that was really interesting to me in 24 was the franchises. More and more in different markets, you see the franchise laundromat come into market. And where's that going to end up in 25? It's a very interesting story to me. And kind of to round it out for 24 and into 25 is consolidation. You see consolidation happening on the distribution level, manufacturers buying distributors, roll-ups occurring, private equity getting into it. But you also see it on the laundromat side. You see multi-store owners buying more stores, trying to increase their footprint, private equity getting into store ownership. And what's that going to look like in 25? It's a very interesting time in our industry.
It is. It's certainly a kind of an evolutionary time in many ways. Let me stay with you, Brendan, and just talk specifically about the economic and market trends that you're seeing.
Yeah, I mean,
Inflation,
kind of to
I don't know.
piggyback is, the rates. Everyone talks about rates and,
Yeah.
coming from a finance side, well, what's your rate? It's interesting. I'm going to date myself just a little. I graduated high school in 1999. And at that time, prime was about 8%. It capped out that year about 8.75. So when everyone talks about how high rates are, it's really within that context of the last 10, 15 years. On a historical level, there's still pretty low. Prime today's at 7.75. So, that's a big economic trend as you're seeing, and Yvette mentioned it, is you see the rise. It's the year of the rise, rising costs and equipment, rising, the interest rate has risen from historical, utilities have risen, and those are trends that I think we're going to see easily start 2025 for us.
Right, right. No, good points. Yvette, speaking about the economic trends and the market trends, has it impacted your business at all in any way, or what specific ways?
Well, absolutely. We see our maintenance costs that have continued to rise with the cost of parts and finding people to do repairs and then what you have to pay them when you do it. So absolutely, I've seen that increase our costs. And I think with any store owner right now, if you're looking to expand, and many that I talk to are looking for another location. I talk to people all the time that are looking for their first locations. That kind of uncertainty about what's going to happen with the rates, and then just the popularity of this industry right now. Even if they do find something, the costs are more than what it would have been several years ago. So I certainly have been affected by all of it.
Right, right. As everyone, I'm certain.
Yeah.
Mark, as you said at the outset, you're going to kind of be coming at it through the lens of a full service operator, pickup and delivery. Certainly, full service has been the trend for several years, and it just exploded in the last couple of years. What's driving this trend, in your opinion?
It's a good question. Certainly think it's in vogue now. I think customers are searching for it. There are, Google Trends reports that show more people are searching for laundry service. I think with all the new entrants, whether laundromat owners or marketplaces or peer-to-peer services, there's just more supply out there. If you asked me that a couple of years ago, the problem was to fill all the demand was going to be a lack of supply, and there's certainly more and more supply coming. So I think there's an element of in vogue. There's customers want it. Business owners are going to go chase it, right? I think another part of it is what we just talked about with entry price, right? You're going to pay a multiple that's probably higher than the last couple of years after all the COVID craze around laundromats. machines are more expensive, everything's more expensive, that to kind of get over that cash flow profitability hurdle, new owners are often forced to find new revenue streams, and the wash dry fold one, or pickup and delivery, is certainly one that seems in reach. Though it certainly requires more work and is ultimately a different business than running just the laundromat.
Do you think it has staying power? I know your answer, but
I think so. I think so. I've always said I'm gonna keep going until my parents and their friends are ordering laundry service, right? So I think it's going to start with the first adopters, where it certainly did. COVID certainly got a lot of people into delivery everything. But the first adopters are very much the first adopters of all things tech. They get their grocery delivered, they get their dog walked on an app, they get all of that. But I think it's becoming more and more mainstream. And with everybody having laundry, a small market share piece is a lot of money. So it's certainly something I'm betting on, but I know there's a bear case against it.
Right. Yvette, have you been capitalizing on this full service trend? And I don't know how much wash, dry, fold, or pickup and delivery you do. Can you tell me about that, or what you're doing specifically at your business?
Well, we have only one of our locations that does wash, dry, and fold. So we are not in the pickup and delivery business at this point.
Okay.
But I don't disagree with Mark at all. It is growing. I think a lot of things are driving that growth. You've got a lot of dual income families where they just don't have the time, where they're choosing to spend their time doing other things. And they don't want to spend Saturday doing load after load after load. So it's convenient for them to go on an app and say, come pick it up, and then they bring it back whenever it works for them. So I think we definitely have seen that happening. We've seen I think we're still very much in the aftermath of COVID, and the times when people are little germophobic and they recognize how important it is to keep their items clean, and they want to go to a place that's clean, or preferably not even have to go there, just send somebody to come and get it and pick it up. It's not very big for us, but I recognize that it is large and that it's not going anywhere.
Right. It's certainly staying. I think laundry is probably one of the last great tasks to finally be outsourced, along with everything else that we've done, lawn care and everything else, and certainly the tailwind it got from COVID gave it that push. But it's certainly here to stay. Brendan, how about you? What are you seeing from your customers and your clients regarding the full service segment of the business? Is there anything that you can add to that as far as that trend?
Well, it's been interesting in the regard that more and more, when you look at what people look for in a laundromat, their number ones haven't really changed. Is it safe? Is it well lit? Is it clean? And from that perspective, is it safe? And that's where full service has added a layer, specifically in more of the cities and those laundromats, is they like the attendant because, yes, it brings in additional revenue with the wash, dry, fold, but there's someone there attending the store, kind of watching what's going on and helping the patrons in the store. I think the other thing that we've seen more so is that trend is starting to move out to more of the rural areas. In more in the cities, people look at that, hey, quarter mile, maybe a half mile, but within that, there's a lot more stores. As you go into the rural areas, they're saying, hey, I'll pick your stuff up on my way in. I'll do your wash, dry, fold, and I will deliver it when I come back. It's helping offset some of the rising expenses. And it's been a nice diversification of the income that the laundromat's given them.
Absolutely. I just want to remind everyone that please, if you've got a question or something you're thinking about, now's the time to just send it in. We've got a great panel here. They're giving their time. They've got a lot of knowledge, so tap into that. If you have a question about industry trends or where you think things are going or something going on with your business, feel free to send that in and we'll try to get that answered for you. Mark, let me turn to you a little bit with some of the technology that's going on, smart technology. AI was a huge trend and a huge, at least buzzword last year, and that's growing. That's not going away. Machine learning. What do you see this playing? What role do you see this playing in the future of the industry, and where specifically do you see it having the biggest impact? Tech.
Yeah, I don't know is probably a really good answer.
Fair.
It's helped me get a lot more done with
Mhm.
less effort and time. The same way a lot of folks use ChatGPT, right? And it's helped with reporting. It helps me with writing standard operating procedures. I think it does speed things up. I've in my role, I've yet to see a massive, huge unlock. I know they exist in the world if you're in the tech space, right? I think it's eventually just going to be kind of electricity that flows through everything. But for my role running laundromats and coordinating kind of the operations side of this, we've seen surface level improvements on kind of getting more done with less. It's made our standard operating procedures and some of our wikis much more concise and more detailed. But I'm probably the wrong person to ask. I think if you ask these software companies, if you asked our tech team, I think there's probably a lot of really, really fun stuff going on.
Right. Stuff we haven't even thought of. Yvette, do you use a lot of technology in your store, or what types of technology are you using to make things easier day to day?
Things that we use, well, we are taking advantage, of course, of a lot of the payment systems and the apps that are out there. That certainly helps a lot to make my customers' lives easier. And then as a result, then it makes my life and my attendants' lives easier, being able to start machines and doing free starts remotely or even on site with the attendants from their apps. If there's a problem, to help resolve that for the customer quickly, that's great. I think ChatGPT, I agree with Mark. I've been able to get a lot done in a lot less time across a wide variety of things that I do. Running the laundromat, writing things that we need for the laundromat. It works really well for all of that. So, yeah.
Brendan, do you have anything to add on as far as tech and AI and what your clients are telling you?
Yeah, the one thing I've always loved about the laundry industry is it never really was high tech to a large degree. You go into the store, put your money in the machine, you still need water, still need soap, still need the machine to agitate. But what technology really is coming more and more as it evolved, as Yvette said, the payment systems. But what does that unlock for owners is that real-time data. What machines are running? What machines have clothes in them that are sitting dormant? What dryers are running? What dryers are not running? And then from a service side, we have an error code in this machine. You should look at this. Leak detection in machines. So that way the stores don't become flooded with water. I think from an AI perspective, it's been touched upon is really improving business operations. How am I going to staff my laundromat? Well, I can go in and see my reports. This is when I'm the busiest. This is when I'm slower. Route optimization, if you do pick up and drop off, using the technology to say, what's the most effective way to pick up these goods and to get them cleaned, then to bring them back. Those are all exciting things that we can integrate into our industry moving forward.
Absolutely. And I would also say, like, having the ability for your machines to send notifications to the customers as they're using them, they love that. So if you have a full service store or a store where your customers are coming in and doing their own laundry, to know that they can go next door and not miss a beat because they'll be notified immediately when their laundry is done. That's a big deal, and it helps them to help you to get people in and out really quickly. I think also you're more likely to attract people that like technology. So if you want to find a little niche in your market, like, hey, that's the store where I can start the machine from my app. I know I can go there and I can use my phone. I can get a discount because I've used my phone to start my machine potentially. And then I know when it's done, like, that's the store for me. So you can set yourself up to be a special place for people where that is important to them.
And there's so many options today, right? Like it's less about the AI and the machine learning, more about the software in general. Like It's out of the picture, but hanging on my wall, I have framed 8.5 by 11 where we used to write customers' names down and what time we needed to be there to pick up their clothes, right? And now you have what, 10, 15 white label options out there at increasingly affordable prices. The barrier to entry to get into some of this full service work, software and tracking used to be a big part of it, and it's increasingly approachable for new laundromat owners.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a great customer convenience. It helps the operator side. It's a great marketing tool. Yeah, no, absolutely. I got a question in here from someone, and let's see. I don't know if we can take this. I'm in the beginning stages of my delivery and pickup laundry service, Mark. What app or POS system would you recommend? We don't want to.
We don't want to do that, but I have a good
brand
answer.
names. But I don't know, is there any way we can kind of attack that one without generically?
Yeah. My advice would be to get demos on all of them, learn about all of them, get as involved as you can with all of them. My recommendation here is going to be brand agnostic. It's to go in with a business model, go in understanding what you want the business to look like. Because all of the white label software options have different nuances, right? Some cater better towards, let's say, receivables and aging, right? So if you're looking to do kind of a pay later or heavy commercial business, you're going to want to go in with that question and lean towards the options that have that. Some of them are very residential in nature, where they'll have an app, they'll have great notifications along the way, they'll kind of act as a de facto CRM for a residential customer. If you want to get into the residential business, you're going to want to know, which ones skew better residential. So my advice when I get asked this question is very much a business model question, is sit down, look in the mirror, like understand what you want in a software, and then go on all the demos and the first dates of sorts. But know what you want first, because if you don't, you're going to go in there, you're going to be too malleable, and you're going to get sold on what they have instead of getting a solution for what you need.
Great answer. Another trend I'd like to kind of talk about a little bit would be the community-centric business model that seems to be really taking off and really growing. And Yvette, if I can maybe start with you on that, because I know you've certainly done things to ingratiate yourself to the community, and you've got a lot of programs and things that you do. So tell me about that, and what are some ways that maybe operators can strengthen their ties within their own communities?
Sure, that's true, Bob. I think it's a lot of fun to be able to become involved in the community and to think of your laundromat as an extension of yourself. And there are lots of ways. There is no wrong way to run a business. Some people prefer to be more hands-off, but there are a lot who want to be involved in a lot of the things and recognize that the laundromat is a place where people come from your community. They spend a good amount of time once they're in there. And many times you have a captive audience, and it's an opportunity to give back. So you can view a laundromat kind of as your mission, if that's something that's in your heart to do. And we certainly do it. We have turkey giveaways. We had our 6th annual one in our store in Conyers, Georgia. That was just so much fun to be able to give away turkeys and hams and chickens to people who weren't expected. And the last 2 years, we've coupled that with free laundry days. So that is something that we can do, and you just never know whose life you're going to touch when you are able to give them, especially unexpected financial relief in the form of free laundry. That's a big deal. But we also have literacy, read, play, learn areas in our stores, and that's good to have a place where people can pick up books. I think adults and children as well. They're primarily geared towards children, but it's good to have something for adults to read also. We've had workshops. We had a retired teacher come in and read, have reading times where she'll do crafts and things for children. Just something to make it kind of family friendly. I know some operators will do things like bring in Santa Claus if you celebrate Christmas. So they'll have Santa come in and greet their customers. Also some sort of charity events in general, like fundraising. We have stores that we do regular donations to nonprofits or to a school in the area. And that can be at a certain time. Any laundromat or any machine that are run during this time, or just something on a regular basis, a percentage or a flat number that is donated all the time. That's good. I've seen laundromats do like recycling, so really kind of set themselves up to be thought of as more of a green option. So recycle, we have, as many laundromats do, or most of us do, an enormous amount of plastic bottles that flow through there. So to be able to capture those and have somebody that will recycle them would be a good thing. Then we also do Wi-Fi and charging for people in the community, or for our customers mostly, but we get people that come in and we don't always turn them away if they just want to come in and just have a moment to charge their phone, because you don't know what that can do for people sometimes and where they are. And then local collaboration, so maybe cross collaboration. I've seen stores do like they'll work with the local coffee shop. Many of them actually have coffee shops in them now also, but even if
Right.
they don't, maybe they'll do a collaboration with the local coffee shop and do some sort of cross promotion where they're passing out things. It works really well if you're doing drop off too. It's easy to put something inside of somebody's laundry, a flyer for another business. That's a nice way for them to get it and open it up when they have time to really concentrate on it. And I've seen some really good successes with things like that.
Mhm. Wow, well, that's a lot. And certainly it's only touching the tip of the iceberg, because it's just the only limit, I guess, is the imagination, and you could reach out to communities in so many ways. And it helps business too as well. I know that that's not the main driving factor for most laundry operators, but it does help business as well, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's never bad for people in the community to see that you aren't there just to suck money out of the community and take it and do something
Right.
that's going to benefit only you. But to have that be recyced with your time and your efforts and your energy, I think it changes the energy in the store when you go in there also.
Right.
People feel it. And I'm a huge believer in positive energy and things that you can't always even put a word to, but you can feel it. And you feel it. You feel it. When you come in, you can feel it. So that's important. And I agree that, yes, it does help. It helps business in ways that you don't know. It allows your business to be spoken of in rooms where you aren't, and in a positive way. And that's always a good thing.
Very good, very good. Mark, I know that you're coming at it from the full service and the pickup and delivery side of things, but are there ways that people who are doing that can still be community centric? And I think you've spoke about a few of those things at the Wash Dry Fold workshop recently, as far as ways that you're getting the community to kind of work together and kind of ingratiating yourself that way. Can you talk about some of the stuff you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, Yvette nailed it. It's interesting. It's a paradox for me, because in a world where digital advertising and SEO and all of the easy stuff to do behind a keyboard is increasingly easy, it's tempting to focus all on that. And we found that the community stuff is so much more effective. Even on the laundromat level, the free laundry days, the getting out and involved with the churches and schools and nonprofit organizations, it doesn't come close. Those are so much better investments of time, and often they're significantly cheaper. That when I catch myself trying the keyboard and focus too much on the digital, it's often good to go get in the store and actually make an impact, a real world impact, and not just banging fingers on keys.
Perfect. Great.
Yeah, and I would just add too that I'm a big believer in being involved in Chamber of Commerce. So if you have a chamber in your local area, so get involved, get to know the other local business owners, because you don't know what types of collaboration events or opportunities will present themselves where you're in the room with the other business owners in your local area. So that's always good.
Right. Brenda, what are your thoughts on this trend? Again, you've grown up in the laundry business, just regarding this community-centric trend that really seems to be taking hold.
You know, as a Rotarian, they have a 4-way test, and the last one is it gonna build is it beneficial to all concerned? And when you do community activities like this, it does become beneficial to all concerned, the store owner, but also all the patrons that come in. I've So I've traveled the country recently. Some of the great ones is I saw this near a college town, Laundry 101. They sign up 10, 15 college kids at a time. They teach the kids how to do laundry, separate the dark, the darks over here, the whites are here, and the detergent, cold water washing. And they'll bring pastries, donuts, whatever, and it's free to the students, but it opens up the door and allows them so they don't walk away with maybe a pink t-shirt or a shrunk pants. One of the other ones I loved, and just again being beneficial, is this gentleman opened up his laundromat families and said, look, come here. I'm going to buy pizza for any family that comes in the homework center so the kids can do their homework. Free Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi accessibility, we all take it for granted by and large. It still doesn't reach every corner of the United States. And he said, look, come in here. You can do your class projects while your parents do their homework. He hired teens from the high school to watch over everyone. It was just a great community event, and it cost them a few pizzas. And one of the ones that I think store owners should think about is, as you're replacing equipment, is some of that equipment is still have a lot of useful life in it. And call the schools. There are a lot of schools that you'd be surprised. I live outside of Harvard, and there are kids who come and their clothes are dirty. They'll give the kids clothes, but they got to wash those clothes for the kids. They'll take a used top loader. They'll take a used dryer, and it helps the kids feel better about themselves. They're in school, they have clean clothes, but these are all little things that really are beneficial to all concerned, in the community.
Yeah, no, those are great points. Absolutely. Let me stay with you, Brendan. Can you kind of maybe guess to the future of the workforce? How are roles changing within the laundry industry as we go forward? Have you thought about that, or have your clients talked anything about that with
I used to say it when I was young. We need to get younger in this industry, and now I'm old and I'm still saying it. The workforce, we've talked a lot about technology and how that's changed the laundry industry in a good way. I think that hopefully will attract younger people, but especially on the service side, finding individuals who want to come in and get behind a dryer when it's 100 degrees outside, and fix that equipment. It's becoming harder and harder to find those people. It's a great industry. It has always provided for me and my family. And I think the more we can promote this industry as a whole and the benefits that it has, hopefully we'll see more individuals younger coming in. But not only that, to that degree, is hopefully we can continue on this generational ownership, whether it's in distribution or laundromats or service companies, is keeping that generational. For a long time it was, family passed down to the kids, and then the kids down to their kids. You're starting to see that dwindle a little bit in the workforce, and so it'd be nice to see that resurrect itself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's great. Mark, what are you seeing, or what do you think as far as the future of the workforce? How is it shifting for the laundry industry?
Yeah, I think it's something we're working on, and I'm seeing across a lot of CLA members, is investments in training. Laundromat attendant is no longer, just kind of sitting there scrolling their phone or reading a book. There's with the increasing labor costs and more revenue to manage through the store and different revenue streams, the attendants are they're in charge of selling it. They're in charge of merchandising it. They're in charge of talking to customers and being the vehicle for retention. So we're seeing a lot of investments in training, and how can we make the training digestible for them so they can execute on it. I think while I don't have any, it's on my Christmas list. I don't think I'll get it. I'm seeing a lot of folks move towards private facilities, laundromat owners who, are big in the wash, dry, fold sector, are kind of moving their full service laundry to a private facility. leaving their laundromats as laundromats, and that's turning a lot of their staff into machine operators. Now instead of a bunch of folks folding laundry, you need one or two, highly skilled machine operators to make sure the laundry gets through some of the automation they've added. So that's an interesting trend, and I'd kick myself if I didn't mention it, though it's not one we're dealing with our workforce.
Yeah, no, but it's definitely evolving. It's changed a lot. Absolutely. Yvette, what's going on with the workforce at your particular business, and how do you see things shifting as far as roles and positions and that?
Well, good question. In the last few years, we have kind of come through a time where it's been more challenging than I'd seen in the 10 before, and finding people to work. And it's not that they aren't out there necessarily. I think COVID gave a lot of people an appetite for working from home. And in our industry, that's not necessarily an option. It's hard to work from home and do laundry. So so we're still on that path where we have to be very intentional and treat people really well. Let your team know how valued they are in order to maintain them, because the truth of the matter is that they have options. And we're still in the place where we have very low unemployment nationally. And I think as small business owners, we're all kind of feeling it. So training is good. Investing in attendance. We had our first, we haven't done this before. We've done offsite meetings with our team, or more of offsite events like a dinner or something to celebrate holidays. But for the first time, we shut down operations for 3 of our stores, or let them run unattended. I won't say officially shut down. And we brought all team members for 3 locations into a meeting room where we were able to do kind of more intentional cheerleading session. It was a cheerleading session, a recap session, hey, let's brainstorm what's it going to take to get our operations to the next level. We did that. That was amazing. It was really fun to do, and something that we had never done before. So what I know is that it is going to take more to get good people and to keep them than we've ever seen in the past. And store owners and distributors, manufacturers who don't recognize that and act on it, they'll get left in the dust, because the people that you want to work there, they'll go someplace else in their work. So that's what I'm saying. There's more intentionality about hiring people, about training them, about creating places where they can feel appreciated, and then creating a role that they can see themselves advancing to. And it's not so easy when you're dealing with relatively small businesses like most laundromats are, but to find some way to show them that they're valued and to give them an increased level of responsibility and increased pay to go with it. I think that you'll feel the benefits of it as an operator, and your team will see it and they will stay around.
Right.
Can I just add to that? I think that's so important, because LinkedIn did a survey back in beginning of the year. Out of 1,000 people, 850 of them, 85% were thinking about switching jobs. So to Yvette's point, making people feel valued is so important these days, because there are options out there for them. And so I love that idea.
Right. Labor has always been challenging, right, in this industry, and I guess it's becoming more so these days, and there's a trend in itself, I'm sure, right? Yeah. I got a question here. Asking about a point of sale system, strictly to benefit a wash dry fold business, not pickup and delivery, but just a drop off wash dry fold. And again, I don't know, is there any way that we can address that generically?
My answer would probably be the same. Yeah, understand what you want and go take some demos. It might be tough because you want to open up on day one with a point of sale, but that means you're going to be going on demos of these, having never run a laundromat a day in your life, right? So inevitably you won't know what to look for. There's so many options out there. There are great options out there. go on some demos and see which one you like. The same way folks talk about distributors, the same way I talked about the delivery software earlier is take a demo, find what you like, find who you like, and who you want to work with as a partner.
Great.
Absolutely. You've got Clean coming up in August in Orlando. So I think that's an opportunity to meet with a lot of operators and manufacturers and get hands-on experience and ability to talk to people in person about their particular software and then talk to a lot of users. So there'll be a lot of them there. If you haven't signed up for that, if you're in this industry, I would definitely recommend you register to get to Clean in Orlando.
Great advice. And this attendee also is asking about ozone systems. Are they effective? Are they worth installing? Is anyone doing ozone here, or any can speak to it? Anyone on the panel?
I'm not.
Not me. No, I certainly understand it. Entry price for me has always been a very big consideration. So certainly it's played against some of my motives getting into stores, but it's impossible not to learn about it when you read online. There's certainly some huge advocates of it.
All right, there you go. Well, overall, Mark, let me start with you. What are we've talked about a lot here, but what are some new opportunities for laundry owners heading into 2025 as we turn the page of the calendar? As far as you see it, what are some of the best new opportunities that they should be jumping at?
That's a good question. Keeping it high level, I think it's the access to information has improved a ton. You can't go online in any of these social networks, and if laundromats are in your algorithm, you're going to see something about laundromats. The video series CLA is putting out and others on YouTube, the events with this year being clean, like the access to information is crazy available right now. I remember going to actually Eastern Funding events early on, and then having to track down Ken Barrett and like bug him to give me a call back so I could ask him all the questions. The access to information is everywhere, which I think then breeds all of these opportunities, right? So if you're interested in the wash, dry, fold, or the pickup and delivery opportunity, there's a wormhole you can go in online and kind of find your tribe. If you're interested in just running the passive store, or a store connected to a car wash, or a roll up of all quarter stores, like there's information on that online too. So with the access to information has greatly improved, and I think it's one of the things causing people to get excited about kind of finding their tribe and joining the laundry industry.
Absolutely, something for everyone out there. For sure. Brendan, how about you? Where are the best opportunities for laundry operators and maybe prospective investors heading into 25?
Yeah, I think with the clean shows coming up, seeing what the new technologies are going to come out of that. The manufacturers are always rolling something new out. So I think that's exciting opportunity, because what that technology could allow, as we've talked about, rising cost is also raising revenue in that regard. So maybe you can cut costs on the utility sides, but then not be able to raise costs, make more multi-vending. Is it card systems? So those are some of, right now more than ever, I think is the time to start looking at the laundromats and retooling. And what does that look like for the store owner? Do you try to eat the apple in one bite, or do you take small bites and do a little bit of your store at a time? And how does that look? If you haven't raised your prices in the last 4 years, now is that opportunity. Everyone talks about inflation. Inflation's not always a bad thing. It does give us the opportunity to raise our prices, and looking at our offerings in our stores. I think one of the opportunities is the synergies that are out there, becoming more and more in some of the past issues of Planet Laundry, between massage chairs and pet washing and car wash opportunities and the vacuums. I think there's a lot of, I'm really excited to see the untapped synergies that are out there as well for 25.
Yeah, no, very much so. Yvette, how about you? What opportunities do you see? What seems ripe for 25?
I love what Mark and Brendan both said, and I love the find your tribe. I always use that term. I think it's so cool. because what we see now with the diversity in information is that there is a tribe for absolutely everybody. But that aside, I would say that it's going to be really important that if you are an existing operator or if you're looking to get into this industry, there is going to not be a better time or a more important time that you are continually up in your game as there is today. There is no room in this industry anymore for people who do nothing and who have to take the coin phrase zombie meds. The zombie meds just aren't going to cut it. You will be passed over and over again. There are so many opportunities to run a tight ship to really make people who have not come into laundromat in years come in and just wow them, and to wow your current customers, that if you aren't looking at your business from every angle, you're missing the boat. So the conference that I mentioned that we did with our team and we brought them off site, you're missing opportunities if you aren't talking to your existing staff. These are people that are in your store. They have daily interactions with your customers, daily interactions with your equipment, and with every piece of the business. You have to continuously ask them for information and for feedback and what can they do, and then act on it. So I would say that those are opportunities. I'm looking forward to continuing to implement things across the board and just not being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
As they say, absolutely.
Right.
Well, let me stay with you, Yvette, and just by contrast, what are some maybe pain points or headwinds that laundromat owners are probably going to face in 2025, as you see it?
Right. Well, I say the prices, increase in prices. The equipment prices are still up there. I don't see that changing.
Right.
Initially everybody was blaming COVID for everything, and COVID caused everything to go up apparently. And I guess we're still suffering under COVID because prices have not stopped going up, and they certainly haven't reversed and gone down. So we just have to adjust to that, adjust to the increased price for new equipment, increase in pricing for parts, for labor, for utilities. Everything is going up. And what that means also is you have to run a tighter ship in order to have a profitable business. We also see the increase in the popularity of this industry just going through the roof. So what that means is that if you are looking for a store, you're going to pay more for it than you would have a few years ago because it's more popular. The whole theory of supply and demand is in play here. So we're seeing that if you're looking for a new location, just be prepared to pay for it or be patient. I don't think there is a right or a wrong answer, but you have to decide what works for you. But just recognize that in order to get in quickly, you may have to pay a little more than you wanted to, or than you would have a little while ago.
Right. Mark, how about you? What challenges do you see facing laundry owners like yourself next year?
Well, I will hop off my peer-to-peer pedestal because I mentioned that already. But I think it was mentioned earlier. The regulation is one for the brick and mortar laundromat that we've. I'm sure it's always been there. I've certainly become more and more fascinated with it over the last year or two. But it seems like with the microfibers and sales tax and other issues continuing to pop up, regulation plays an increasingly important role, and it's not something any one laundromat owner can control, but certainly is a threat to every single one laundromat owner. So we'll be keeping our eyes on that, and I know the CLA is doing a ton of work, but it certainly does affect everybody, and I see that as a big threat along with some of the peer-to-peer stuff on the delivery side.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Brendan, how about yourself as far as next year? Pitfalls, challenges, headwinds, what are you seeing from your segment of the industry?
Yeah, well, I think Yvette nailed it to a degree. That barrier to entry has gone up and up. When I first started in this industry, people would buy them typically maybe 2 times net, maybe 3. Now you're seeing stores go for 4 times, 5 times EBITDA, become a very popular buzzword. Hey, what's the EBITDA? How is that calculated? Looking at that. So my biggest advice is be patient. I've seen many people buy a laundromat really to bail someone out of their problems. And you don't make money when you sell these, you make money when you buy them. It was some of the greatest advice I'd ever gotten when I was trying to just look at stores, and they say you make the money when you buy it. You got to buy them right. The other piece now is the cash needed to get into these. Typically it used to be maybe 5% cash equity, 10%. We're seeing them now 30, 35, 40% down on a store. So making sure that and I don't think that's going to go away with rates fluctuating like they are, valuation staying as high as they are, making sure that you have appropriate cash on and put into buying a store or buying equipment, but making sure you have that rainy day fund as well is very important, because stuff breaks, things go wrong. So those are some of the headwinds that I don't see them dimming in 25.
2 times net. That sounds awesome. When was that?
Yeah. In 99, 2000, I'll never forget, there were these stores, and I covered the Metro Boston area in 04. And people just, hey, I just went down. I talked to this guy, he said it was 2 times the net, but he really puts this into his pocket. That's all gone away. I mean, it's funny now with the card systems, and they'd be like, well, he said he put $1,000 in his pocket every week, and then, yeah, I mean, now with the card system and the water tracking, it's definitely different in 2024 to 25.
Wow, that must have been before it was all over YouTube and TikTok too.
It's funny you mentioned that, because the influencers, they're out there, and I love following them. Just saying, watching people collect quarters is like a pastime for me and my kids now. They're like, and but it's more prevalent now than ever. Absolutely.
Great. Brendan, let me stay with you. And this is the last question for all of you. Personally, what are you most excited about heading into next year? And Brendan, I'll let you start it off.
Definitely the clean show. Sign up, go. The education that happens there is unbelievable. Watching our world of laundry, we're in the coin laundry end. You go to the clean show, you see industrial laundry, that route end of it. You see dry cleaning, so much availability of information there. And I'm excited to see what synergies come up. I'm always excited to see how people start in laundry and what they grow it to. What else do they offer? It was such a foreign concept years ago, as you had a laundromat next to a car wash, for example. I think that is something that we'll start to see more and more of as we talk about recycling. Car washes recycle water. Can that happen in a laundromat? People have tried it in the past. There's so many of these different, ideas out there. I'm excited to see what comes to fruition in 25.
Right. It's exciting. Mark, how about you? What are you most excited about?
Clean show's up there on the list. Very excited for clean show. It's been a while. Within kind of my 4 walls, we have a bunch of new people at our company and new franchisees coming on board that I'm very excited to kind of get off the ground and get working with. From a more tactical, product standpoint, we've been putting a bunch of time and effort into kind of gamifying route density. Route density on the delivery side is so important to the profitability of the business, and can we kind of pass some of those discounts through to customers if we can get a neighborhood to all order on the same day, right? So kind of an increasing discount as orders in the neighborhood increase has been a really fun project. On our product side, it's been it's been a long time since we really tried to get deeper into customers' closets, which is a term a lot of people use. It's kind of wash and fold. Dry cleaning was a second option. We do okay with the delicates process and a delicates bag, but that's kind of where it stopped. And we're working on kind of rolling out some new products that expand beyond that. I'm going to keep the products close to my chest, but I haven't launched a new cleaning service in years now, and I think we're going to do it in 25. So I'm super excited that the deeper you can get into your customers' closets and the more laundry share you can get of their laundry routine is a win. And we're gonna hope to roll some fun products out.
All right, very good. And Yvette, I started with you, and I'm going to give you the last word. What are you most excited about heading into 2025?
Well, I heard clean 2 times, and I'm gonna be the third time. I'm excited about clean.
The
Yeah,
clean
that's been a
sweep.
while. Yeah, clean sweep with clean. I think that'll be fun. It's always exciting to get together with laundromat owners and talk shop and to go visit laundromats in Orlando. That's going to be fun. Fun thing to do. And I am excited about AI. And I think that we are so early in this technology that I get excited thinking about what's next and what that's going to mean for our industry and for the world, general. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but to be able to continue to increase our operations or increase our efficiencies and to improve our operations, particularly by using AI, I'm super excited about that.
Very good. Well, hey guys, thank you so much. I want to thank all three of you for taking time. This has been a blast for me. I've learned a lot and I've truly enjoyed it. I want to thank all the attendees for being here. Thank you for your questions. I hope you learned something and just have a great rest of your day. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You bet.